Hello and welcome to Nightcap, the bi-weekly web show consisting of two friends unwinding with the topics that make us hot. My name is Richard Pucci, and for a second you could hear Nightcap in the background, but I had to readjust everything. We are a little late because I'm a tarty boy, and my wonderful co-host is Miss Joy. I'm a real Nickens.
Yeah.
Nickens.
Hi.
How are you doing, Joy?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
I'm good. I'm tired. I'm working all the time like a jerkhole. Um,
Oh.
yeah, and I'm actually going to be working a lot more. I'm adding another day in, so
Mm.
I'm a tired boy
Oh.
all the time. And then in order for me to have like a like uh like time to myself, I end up staying up all night.
Mm.
I almost spilled my decaf coffee. That way I can sleep. Decaf is real.
Oh, you're winding down coffee.
Yes, it's so funny. People are always like, "What's the point of decaf?" I'm like, "It's for people that are hardcore. They want coffee but without the caffeine. Like they are more hardcore than people that drink coffee for caffeine."
Mm. My
So
grandma was hardcore because she loves decaf coffee. So
yes. um okay, so let's start with TV. I'm going to
yeah.
start I'm going to start with TV. Just because I watched the um the finale of RuPaul's Drag Race, or as I like to call him, RuPaul. And so you
Ah,
probably heard about what happened for RuPaul's Drag Race.
someone spoiled the winner.
Um,
That's the only thing I heard was someone
oh,
revealed it too early.
oh yeah, no, that's not what I was going to say. I was going to talk about the fact that there were two winners.
Oh no,
Yes, there were two winners.
they can do that.
hmm Well, it's
Oh,
funny because the person that really should have won. It's funny.
they got kicked off.
No, okay, so Trinity, I believe the person's called Trinity, did really well. Um, but it's funny because then they were like nitpicking like one of the things just to like take her down a notch. And
Hmm.
then the other girl, they were like, and then they gave her half steps. But if Trinity won, then it would have been the fourth white girl that won.
Mm.
And then Monet Exchange won as well, and so she's the first Black girl to win RuPaul's All Stars Drag Race.
Out of how many? I mean, like out of how many like how many
How many
all stars?
seasons?
How many? Yeah.
It's the fourth. It was the fourth season, so it
Oh.
would have been four white girls and no people of color. So then they did a Tiesies. And I to be honest, I do believe that there was like some race stuff in the mix, because from what I'm hearing from my other half, that was like a big issue, is that all the All Stars winners are all white women with like trademark blondish hair.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's a lot that can be unpacked about that.
I know, I know. And then they were like, "Oh, we just happened to have two winners." Yeah, and the part that's weird is because it's like it's a competition, like it's like a merit based show. So
Yeah.
like let's say, okay, let's reverse it. So let's say if there were like four black girls that won, or three black girls that won, and if the next winner were a black girl, like if it's a merit-based show, then does race matter?
No, it shouldn't. That's why I have an issue with it, where they should have just, you might as well have had a white winner. Don't make it where, oh, we're gonna have twinsies when really they didn't win based off their performance. You just kind of gave them a pity win. Like, oh, well, we noticed the pattern and we're trying to patch it up so we don't look bad. Here, you can have this too.
See, look, yeah, you guys are gonna split the title.
That's not fair. Because
Yeah,
then
because
that's
then
not,
it makes it seem like neither of them are the winner. There just was no winner.
yeah.
I
And
don't.
you're only doing this not for like because they deserved it, but because people are complaining.
Yeah, no, exactly. I don't know.
That's messed up.
Not like I'm, because I was watching it not because I was invested, but because I was forced to watch it.
Yeah, I know. I agree. But for everybody that knows, yeah.
Yeah, but so just because of that, I mean, like, I understand the want to be like, oh, we encourage, well, yes, I get that, but by having two winners, it feels like there was no winner, if that makes sense in a way. Like, less is more. It's like when you give one, like, let's say if you handed somebody a Christmas present, and if you bundled it with other stuff, then it just seems dumb. But if you just say, like, here's this $10 book, like if I handed you a play that was like $15, I'm like, here, this is this play. I really love it. Even though the value of it isn't high, when you add up the sentimental value, you'll be like, oh, that's like, that must mean a lot. If I can't understand the value of it, it must actually be a lot, as opposed to me being like, here's a play and um here's a play and a really nice set of $10 colored pencils and a coloring book. Then it's like, okay, well, what's you know what I mean? Like, what's the real present? It's just a bunch
Yeah.
of stuff.
Why are you
Do you know what I
giving me
mean?
these things?
So by having two girls, it's discrediting both of them,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
It does. It does. And I feel bad for both of them because a
Yeah.
lot of people do want the chance to be on that show and show the world what they have.
Yeah.
And it's not fair to just be caught up in the windstorm of the BS that social media has, and there's a lot of tons of fans, so I'm sure they get emails and tweets and all that stuff about how there's too many of this person that's winning. But like you said, it really shouldn't be about race.
Yeah.
But if you're noticing a pattern, it's kind of like, well, are people of color, like, are they honestly not good enough for the show, or is it really favoritism towards everyone who just are people that so happen to be a race?
Yeah.
Is that something like it's
No, well, it's funny. That's what um somebody was on Twitter, because like I like looked up a thing about it online, where it's like uh like the fans are really the issue, when they're like they were they were looking to see like Instagram followers, and it just happened, and it's a pattern that the white uh drag queens have a tendency of having more like followers. So like they're like that that's what I mean? Like, put your money where your mouth is,
I feel like
support all people.
it is a case where in a broader scale it's kind of like from what I've heard. I mean, I haven't been in this game in this world for that long, but it seems like white gays are problematic. Not all, but
Okay.
it seems like in the community, white homosexual men tend to be the most problematic.
Like close-minded and
Yes, and like
okay.
not again, not
No, no, no,
everyone,
no. I
but
don't I don't take offense to it because it's a pattern that I personally see as well. You know,
which is
when
like why?
like it's so funny. Back when I was dating and I would look at dating profiles, you know, a lot of white gays would be like, no fatties, no femmes, no
Mm-hmm.
blacks, no
Mm-hmm.
Hispanics, no, you know, or
It's
if
like,
they
so you
were
just want to date your twin? Is that what's happening?
basic, yeah, that was a pattern that I saw, you know, was that people, you know, were looking for, you know, and some people would be looking for everybody, but in general, but also the gall to like put that down, you know what I mean? To like look like a
Mm,
super white supremacist by saying like, no, you can't even talk to me. Like I'm like telling you right now, like you could like text somebody and be like, whoa, I didn't think I was attracted to, you know, this person, but now that I'm talking to them, they seem really cool.
yeah, to not even be open-minded enough to want to try people,
Yeah.
other people. But then in a way, I'm happy that at least you put it out there on Front Street versus like if I was going to go to someone's dating profile and then I text that person like, "Hey, like how you
Yeah.
doing?" and they're like, "Oh, you're black." Like get away from me. Like I
Yeah.
would rather have you just tell me.
Yeah. That and that's like that's something that I don't I can't I guess I can't fathom because
It's
it's one
just
of
messed
those
up.
yeah, no, no, no. Absolutely. But don't have to deal with that right now. So,
Yes, thank goodness we both don't have to deal with that kind of
yeah.
stuff
Oh yeah.
right now or anything.
Yeah, and I would definitely say that and on the contrary, the lesbian world I think is completely the opposite. I really that's I really think of it as the opposite. As far as like just being like inclined to being like, you know, whatever, you know? Just because the I know for a fact that like the body positivity,
Mm,
a lot of the people that front that are lesbians.
mm,
Like it doesn't matter. Are you fat, thin? Do you, you know, are you going to make love with me with this or that, or you want to wear something? That's fine, you know? Like
mm.
that's not an issue. There's a lot more openness to trying different things. But I just think that's male headwise mentality versus female mentality, where
Mm.
which I hate to stereotype, but I mean it's a good stereotype for women that women just
Yeah.
they're a lot more fluid in
I've
thinking.
I've only gathered a couple of times with queer women. I'm just gonna put queer as like an umbrella
Okay,
because
yeah, no, that's
I don't have time to be trying to figure out like but like you said when it's come to issues I've heard it's just basically I it's hard to find someone to date in the circle like around me because you know like everyone's too close like you don't know who's dated someone you've already dated or
yeah,
you know your ex is dating your this other girl and then that girl could be your like so
yeah. Like you could be dating your past ex's future ex before you, like after you.
yeah so I've heard the issue of either the dating pool is very small where everyone knows each other
Yeah.
already or the case is like well there's two more you go on the dating apps and you think it's a girl and it's really like a girl who wants you with her boyfriend like they catfish you into like a threesome for some reason
Yeah, no,
and
which isn't cool. That's lying.
no so you're just like oh I that's not what I wanted and then the other one is yeah it's just like it's there's not a lot of people that are available. Like you say you are, but you're not. Like you just text forever. You don't meet any. You're not going outside to meet.
Yeah.
So
It's like not serious.
yeah, just text Betty's, but not like doing anything other than that. So
Hmm. I don't know. So that has been RuPaul's Drag Race. RuPaul's Drag Race. And queer gender issues.
so serious.
I know that was like really heavy for our first our first segment. So have you been reading anything?
um, I read 2 comics, but I didn't get to say my TV thing.
Oh, TV. I meant to say, did you watch your TV? I'm
I
sorry.
watched it. I was like, I actually watched things finally. I watched um, God damn it. Okay, so just recently, because I watched comedy specials,
Hmm.
but they all are part of the same thing. So HBO has a special called Two Dope Queens, and they used to be a podcast, or I guess they still are. But I watched
Yeah.
their episodes, which were really funny. And in terms of scripted TV, the last thing I was trying to watch was something called Siempre Bruja, and stopped watching it. But I want to watch another show called Deadly Class. So I'm just in between like shows
Okay.
at the moment. Um, the only reason why I really wanted to watch the Siempre Bruja, it's called Always a Witch. Anyway, that one was problematic because it has to do with the Afro. Did I explain the show to you before or no?
No.
No? Okay. It just I'm going through it as quickly as I can. The show is about a 16th century Afro-Colombian witch
Okay.
who is a slave,
Okay.
and she gets burned at the stake because they think she's a witch, because she is. And she time travels to 2019 so she could go back in time to save her slave master's son.
Okay.
So she falls in love with the son of the slave master who
Mhm.
owns her. And I was like, wait, so you are a Afro Latina woman who has magical powers from the 16th century, and someone gives you an opportunity to go into the future where you don't have to be a slave anymore, and you want to go back in time to be a slave again. Like I just didn't I wasn't
That's
relating.
problematic.
I
That's really problematic.
It's very telenovela-ish, and I
Yeah,
was
but
not feeling it. I'm still gonna watch the show, but yeah.
I was gonna say, and there's like another witch show that's on, unless it's the same one, but I see the English title.
Is it a black girl with like a lot of hair at the front and it's like flowers and stuff?
It's Curly.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's like Weather Witch or Always a Witch or something.
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay, but you're just saying the like Latin version of it.
Because for the past couple months, I only known it as the Spanish title as Siempre Bruja, which
Okay.
means always witch, like always a witch.
Okay, so I'm not nuts because I just
No,
went to go look it up. So okay, so I am correct. That is
you were right. Yes.
because Sabrina the Teenage Witch came out. Always a
Mm-hmm.
Witch came out. The new
Mm-hmm.
the black reboot Charmed is going to be coming out if it's not already
Oh, it
out.
did. Yeah.
Okay, and the blowback from that.
Yes.
Um, I've been playing games a lot
Ooh,
on my phone. I started playing
yeah.
Vain Glory again.
Okay.
I gave them $15, and I was like, "That's it. That's all the money you get."
Mm.
And and so I've been watching a lot of like TV, but osmosis TV. You know what I mean? When you have it on and you're not really paying attention, but like you are, but you're
Yeah.
not. Um, so I wanted to rewatch Being Human.
Oh, I've heard of that.
It was really good, and they took it off Hulu, and I like almost cried
Oh.
because it's like if I were to, you know how, oh, I'm going to pose this question to you and the viewers if we have any, which I don't know if we do because I'm terrible human. Um, my question would be if you could have a podcast about any show where you did a rewatch, a public rewatch with listeners, what show would it be? For me,
Mm.
I could, and I could have, and I still could, I could do a show about being human, like a rewatch
Mm.
show about being human, because I really love that show.
Okay.
So I was really upset, and because me and Maggie, a friend of ours, um, and my ex roommate, and this is before we even moved in together.
Yeah.
Me and Maggie would talk about being human like we would be able to have like big long conversations about being human and talk about like the details and stuff. I really love
Mm.
that show. It was really good, and the American version was so dramatic.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, and then it was so good. It was about a vampire, a witch, and wait, a vampire, a ghost, and a werewolf that shared a house.
Yeah, I was told to watch the show, and I was like, I'll watch it, and then I just never got into trying to watch it because I had other shows.
Oh, it's so good. It's so I loved it. I loved it so much. And then it's funny because of the ghost character. Do you know what they had to do? So like they built like she would always sit in this one spot on the sofa, and the reason why is because that part of the sofa was like like it was like cement. That way, when she sat on it, it didn't like press down.
Okay. So
And
she
then
sat
like
there.
yeah, and then this is okay. Wait, I'm gonna show you a picture. Isn't that a hot cast? That's a hot cast.
Oh, they seem good. The girl in
Yeah.
the middle, is she like mixed or something?
Yeah, she's I think she's like Middle Eastern.
Oh,
She's
interesting.
hot and she really is. Her name is Megan Rath and she's
Okay.
amazing and I love her so much. And the vampire guy, which is the pale guy in the like corner, brooding
Yeah.
type, he's really hot. You could get it and he's got a cleft chin too
Mm.
because he's hot. And the werewolf guy is he's just a really good guy. Just a really good guy. Oh, Rodney's here.
Hey, Rodney.
Hey, you're not so late. I was late because I was tardy. I was a tardy boy. Hey, Rodney. We actually just started. You missed the RuPaul's Drag Race update, um,
Mm.
as well as the Witch Show on Netflix. A little
Mm.
talk about that. And we also talked about queer, gender, and
Like the struggles.
yeah, issues with
Mm.
with stuff. That's it. Nothing major. Nothing major. As well as
Ooh,
what?
I was gonna say if I had a show to talk about or a podcast, my show would be Heroes.
Oh, that's right. You were a superheroes fan. I always forget that.
Yeah, I could. I for sure I would definitely rewatch it from season one all the way to season five because I had so many opinions about what in the world was happening and barely anyone to share it with because no one was invested as
Yeah.
much as I was. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'd go back to watch that.
I was gonna say at least your show was on primetime TV on like NBC. My show was on Sci-Fi. My show
Yeah.
was like one of the best shows on Sci-Fi. Your show was one of the middle ground shows on NBC.
Yeah. I mean, but I always remember when they went on strike in 2007,
Yeah,
2007. Ah, terrible. Just went downhill.
yeah. You know how I know what year the writer's strike was?
Why? How?
Because Big Brother, that was the first time that we had a winter Big Brother season.
A winter one?
Yep.
Oh,
Big Brother was always a summer show. And because of the writer's strike, they had a summer season. I mean,
wow.
they had a winter season.
Oh my God.
And it was based on love. It was like the love season. So they
Mm,
gave people like personality tests, and then they had to play with a teammate, and they were like their soulmates. And
mm.
like sparks did not fly.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Big Brother, but that seems like an awful thing to do to
hmm
people.
Yep. Oh, you and Rodney should do that podcast. Rodney says, Heroes was during the strike. It was my favorite show during that time.
Oh my God, me too. Oh my God, Ronnie.
You guys need to have a podcast, a Heroes rewatching podcast, starting from episode 1 all the way to season 5.
Yo, literally, this could, I swear to you, I would be so committed to this. Like 1,000%, I swear.
You know what? It's so sick, but I know that you really would be.
I would stop the presses on everything in my life and I would do that. I would go and buy the seasons physically, like the physical
Mhm. Yeah.
DVDs and watch them. Oh my God, Rodney. Like what you
I'm
want to
trying
do though?
I'm trying to set it up because I'm like I don't have that one for for heroes.
I
I
really
can't be your
would.
podcast buddy.
I literally like that. And I've been struggling for the longest time to even come up with a podcast, like with my name
Well,
or what to do. Like this would I would literally do this.
the
Oh my
joy of
God.
heroes,
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ronnie, if you agree on the title, we could agree on the title.
right? Right? Or it could be heroes. The joy of watching heroes,
The joy of watching heroes. So that's literally what we're doing like all the time is just
or find your hero's joy.
find your hero's joy. Like, look,
I know
Rodney, you're
I'm
giving
full.
us you're giving us gems, Ricky. Like, oh my God. I'll go back to this episode to like refer to it.
You're
But
just gonna
yes,
like scratch it out. I know,
because I don't know if anyone's doing that right now, if
right?
anyone's into that.
Right? Being human with Ricky.
Oh my God. Yes.
Mhm.
What a time. What a
I
time.
know. Look at that. Look at that. See, we can't be doing that during this. That's not what our show is about. Our show is about stuff
Really
that we
not.
do, not stuff that. Wait a minute. Rodney just responded. Heroes hype. Heroes for the win.
Oh
Rodney says,
no.
honestly, I need to watch it again. See, so it's perfect.
Yeah,
Either that or boom, you have a built-in first viewer.
literally, yeah. Because
Uh,
Heroes is dope.
right, right. Yeah, because I feel like both of those shows were just on the train right as podcasting, right before the boom of podcasting. So there might have been like a couple, but I don't think any of those shows probably saw like a real like episode per episode podcast. You know?
No, I mean, if they did, it was way. It's like archived somewhere where someone was like, "This is a great idea," and then they just
Yeah.
stopped.
Yeah. Either that or they fully did it, but you'd be able to go at it from a 2019 approach and you'd be like, oh, look at this. You know, they were ahead of the curve as far as, you know, doing this. Or, wow, they were behind the times. All the people look like blah.
Because I mean, my main issue, which I think is still will be one, is the fact that they had a lot of people and everyone's plot just kept getting muddled.
Okay.
Like they would introduce new people, and then those people would come off, and then they would just focus on the main people.
Mm-hmm.
So I would always be like, well, what happened to the girl with this power? What happened to the guy with that power? Like they
Yeah.
just faded them to black. Like why did you include them in the episode? Like it just didn't make sense to me. So
Well, you know what was a show that was really good at introducing people and then like keeping them on just enough time, and then like Desperate Housewives. So they would move a new family in on the block, and
mhm.
like if they were like a main, they would introduce them and then like keep them until they eventually got killed off or had to move or something. But for the most part, like the people that moved in that season, like you knew not to get like too close to them.
Yeah.
But like it's not like they'd be in for an episode and then gone. They'd be in for like literally like the entire season.
Oh.
So yeah, so they'd be like, oh, look at this nice family. And then it's like, oh, at the end, you're like, what? He lives with his sister who was stuck in a wheelchair and she wasn't able to go downstairs to the downstairs basement. And he had all of his like child pornography on the wall and she had no idea and they caught it. Like, yeah. Like, and then like, boom, all the crap hits the fan and then like murder and stuff. And then they find out and then he goes to jail. Yay.
Oh, I never watched that one.
Desperate Housewives. It's funny. It was better. It's funny. I rewatched that with my friend TJ, and that was a good one. And like each season had like a disaster like situation. So like one season there was a tornado, and like a main character got killed off. And another season, there was a shootout in the supermarket. That was my favorite. That was my favorite, like, scenario.
Chaos. Oh.
Yes, like every season has like a chaos thing. And one season had like an airplane like fall from the sky and hit like the town. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, like one like really big thing. I don't know. Spoilers.
Yeah, yep. Because I was planning on watching it.
Wait, are you planning on watching it or
no,
not?
I was not. I was not. No.
Okay. If anything, any of those spoilers, if anything, you'd be like, huh. The shootout was the best. I just have to say that. Rodney says, have you ever seen 44 or 4,400?
What? The 4,400?
Yeah.
No, I've not seen that.
I like how I said it wrong.
Yeah, I was like, what are you referring to?
4,400.
Because I'm sure that's how they said it.
It's 4,400. Probably.
No, I've not seen that.
I can't even say it.
What does it look like? Is it 2 4s in the beginning and 2 zeros at the end?
Yes.
Oh my God.
4400.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm hoping you're, yeah, I think it's 4,400.
All right.
I've not seen that.
And then Rodney says that is a must-watch show. I'm just wondering what genre the show is. Is it sci-fi? Is it dramatic? Is it a comedy?
I think it's crime, but it could be like cops or something actiony.
Oh, speaking of shows that it's a crime, did you hear about The Punisher and Jessica Jones?
Oh yeah, they were canceled.
Yeah.
But we knew this though.
Not officially.
Well, I mean, Disney/Marvel was taking everything off of Netflix. Like it was only a matter of time, right?
It was, and it goes to show you that it doesn't even matter. Like these are all trades. These are all things that were like traded and dealt with. Like it doesn't like any of those shows could like be like a massive success, and they'd be like, still not getting it. It's because Disney wants to make their streaming service with all their stuff.
I'm excited, honestly, because the best thing about canceled shows is that I could catch up finally.
Oh, I hate that. That's
Oh, I
not a good
love it.
excuse.
I
Uh,
love it so much.
Speaking of catching up, because I've been gaming so much on my phone, I haven't
Mm.
been able to watch You're the Worst because that's like a show that I actually like to actually watch. So I
Mm.
just watched 2 episodes tonight, and it's the last season, and I'm so happy because I love that show. It's a good show.
Mm.
Um, I went to a movie. Did I tell you? Did I tell you about going? Oh yeah, I did. I told you about going to see
What'd you say?
I
Because
told you
I saw a
about
movie.
I told you about Glass the other week, so never
Oh,
mind.
you did. Okay. I saw an action-packed movie on Valentine's Day.
What?
It was baby and I went to go see Alita, Battle Angel.
Oh, how was it?
Yeah. It was something. No, it was good. Like I liked it better than I thought I was going to like it.
Hmm.
However, um I did have a couple points. First of all, disclaimer, I've never read the manga, so
Uh-huh.
I knew that it was a Japanese um alterated whatever made for American audiences.
Yeah.
So they changed certain stuff
Yeah.
where um the man that discovers Alita is of course everyone's like there's barely anybody that's Asian in this thing. A couple people, but not big.
Yeah.
There were black people in it, which I was shocked. Um, the main black lady was the like there's a doctor. She was the nurse, like the helper to the doctor, but she
Hmm.
barely spoke, and I did not care for that. There was another black lady, but shortly after you see her, she gets murdered, and I felt a way about that. Um, Other than that, it was very, very action packed. The choreography for a lot of the fights were amazing.
Hmm.
Um, of course, Lita, she has a great voice, but of course, her eyes are so damn big because they're supposed to be anime eyes.
I hate
So
CGI anime eyes. They look
it
terrible.
it bothered me, but I accepted it over time. And Marsh, Marshall, forgive me, his name. He's beautiful. He was in Moonlight. Marshala Ali, Muhammad Ali. Yeah, Marshall Ali. Like he was dope. He played two different people. He was wonderful. Um, I did not care for the main man character, the heartthrob.
Hmm.
I thought he was too white boy basic, but everything else was fine. And it definitely had really good music. So good job, Alita.
Woo!
Yeah, it was something.
Okay, so did you see the trailer for Captain Marvel while watching right before Alita?
um,
Because they're showing Captain Marvel before everything.
no, like by the time we got to the theater, we didn't see that trailer. We just saw trailers of movies that we've already seen trailers for movies for.
Mm.
But no.
Um, okay, so I just think it's so funny because I was watching before Glass, I was watching the Captain Marvel trailer.
Mm.
Um, and oh my god, when Captain Marvel like flies into the air, it's like all CGI, but it's not good CGI. I'm just
Uh,
like that just looks like a like that just looks like a computer cartoon as opposed to like when it's done well and like it kind of looks like it looks real.
yeah, as it should.
I was like, I'm like that doesn't look good. I'm like I realized somebody worked probably really hard on that, but I'm like Marvel, you got that Disney movie. Like get like a Renaissance painter to be like working on that. Like get a real, like get somebody that like can do like a real person. Like it doesn't like bad CGI, especially in action movies.
They need to work with Sony Pictures a little more because the movie, like we binge watched over the weekend Hotel Transylvania movies, and the stuff in those movies looked hella real. So they need to start working with Sony a bit more.
And speaking of, because I watched like a stupid film about like the rise and fall of like Sony Pictures. And like Hotel Transylvania, like the guy that directed that movie is like it's like a good ass director. Like the first two movies.
I was gonna say the guy, his last name is Trig something.
Yeah, like he's like a reputable, like it's not like, ooh, like I direct like that all he does is like direct like cartoons. Like no, he's like an actual like,
oh, he's the dude behind Dexter's Laboratory, Samurai Jack. I mean, he's done countless stuff.
Yeah, but it's like it's like good shit.
Yeah. When I saw that he was the director, I was like, oh my god, of course, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
To get together more.
Right? Oh, I went on Broadway on the 11th.
And what'd you see?
I saw Waitress. I have a whole bunch of Waitress swag. Can I get it? It'll take a second.
Finally. Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you.
I'm so excited. And I just can't hide it. He's gonna get the swag. And it's coming from the other side of the room. Oh my god.
All right, so I finally saw Waitress, which I've been talking about, like the fact that like I wanted to see Waitress forever and a day. So I finally saw Waitress, and
I told Bibi about how you guys got tickets for it.
Oh.
Yeah. Also, fun fact, she missed Waitress for me. She had one ticket to go, and she didn't go because we had a thing.
It was really good. I liked it.
Yeah, she was like, oh my god, I haven't been able to see that. And the one time I was supposed to, I didn't go because of you. And I was like, oh.
Oh, was that when you guys first started?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Or she forgot and didn't go. I forgot. It was funny.
Yeah, so there's a playbill, which I got a whole bunch of extra playbills because I wanted one for some of my old ladies.
Aww.
So like, and I was like ghetto, and I was like taking them off the chairs, and then Cupid bought an alcoholic beverage, and it went inside this, and it says Waitress on it.
Oh.
And somebody like left one on the ground, and I was gonna take it, and he was like, "No, don't do that." And I was like, "What? I can put it in the sanitizer at work. That kills everything. Like literally, it kills. And plus, alcohol was inside of it. What germs is it really gonna have? Put it in the sanitizer." And be ghetto, but it's fine because
you got a free cup.
That I know, and because like the drinks inside were like $18. They were like expensive for a small ass drink, alcoholic. But and which he got one, I didn't because I'm cheap. Because I was like, I need to be able to pay rent. But yeah, which I legitimately like. If he wasn't there, I know myself, I would have taken it.
I would have too.
I know, and then I would have cleaned that. I would have cleaned that bitch out. I would have brought it to my other to my job, stuck it in the sanitizer, and it would have gotten all warped. And I would have been like, "It's still my free cup, and it's 100% clean." Plus, you could use regular detergent, and it would be clean. What do you think they do in restaurants?
Barely what you're doing now. So like,
I know. So this is the Waitress cup. All right. So he bought this for me, and this is the Waitress tote. And it's so nice that I still haven't used it yet because once I start using it, it's gonna get gross. But and then he was like, "Oh," like he was like, because like I saw it and I was like, "Oh, I want it," and then I didn't get it. And then he was like, "Oh," and then he like handed it to me, and I was like, "Oh," and he was like, "I was wondering if it was like too like feminine for you, but I was like, no, it's not, because it's like dinery
Okay.
things. I like diner things. Um, and then I got this, which is
Oh my
the
god.
playbook, which is an extra, I don't know how many dollars, but I always, whenever I see a show, I like to get the actual playbook itself, and
Wow.
it gives you information about it. Like this like waitress was the first ever 100% female creative team for a musical on Broadway.
My god.
Like first ever.
Yep.
Um,
I ain't got no doubts about that.
uh, wait. Oh, I'm like, huh?
I wouldn't doubt that. I mean, it's like when do women get to direct anything and have a whole team full of women to do it with
Yeah. Yep. Music.
and it
Uh,
be successful?
yeah. It was. And it was fun. It's funny. The movie and the musical tackles some like issues, but it does it in a way where it's very um it still has humor in it,
Mhm.
which is hard. And then I also got a pin that says
Ooh.
waitress. Waitress. It's a piece of pie. And that's all my waitress stuff. And I was really happy. Joey McIntyre from New Kids on the Block played the love interest male, and
Oh
he was okay.
yeah. Okay.
It was literally just at the start of his run, I think, and the guy who was in it for a different character, he actually got a Tony. He got a Tony nomination for Best Supporting Actor in a Musical, and
Wow.
he was freaking fantastic. He was so hilarious, and it was really funny. At the end of his performance, they like gave him like flowers. I was like, oh, I wonder if like he's done with the run. And I looked it up online, and like I was like, oh wow, I wonder if he's been here the entire time. He wasn't. He like left and he came back,
Mhm.
and it was the end of his run. And then in the movie Waitress, the guy that plays the character Ogie, that actor is actually going to be in the musical.
Oh
Like
wow.
after after 15 years, he's going to be reprising
Coming
his role,
back.
but now in the musical. Yeah,
My gosh. I
yeah.
did catch I listened to Z100 a lot and
Mhm.
I did catch the show when they were interviewing Joey McIntyre
Oh,
on the Elvis Duran morning show and he was
yeah.
talking about being on Waitress and stuff. I was like, oh, that's cool. So
I
Waitress.
saw him, and all the people were like, "Oh!" Like when he came out, like a whole bunch of like 40-something-year-old women were like, "Oh!" And then I was listening, and then he was passable. He was passable, but it's funny. There would
Mm,
be moments because like I've listened to the cast recording so many times. There'd be moments, and I'm like, he's struggling with that song. I
That's what
felt
he
like
was saying.
I felt. Wait, did he really? I felt like such a snob because I was like, he's kind of struggling with that.
Yeah, he did mention that on the show where he's like, "Well, I this is still new to me." So he was like, "I would flub up my lines or I would try to do something." And I'm still learning it,
Yeah,
but like I would try my best to kind of get with the flow. And then they would notice when I would say something, but they would still kind of go along with it. So I'm just trying to
yeah,
work hard. And I was like, "Oh, that's great. Like you're trying." So
yeah. Stuff
yeah, yeah,
happens.
you're right.
It's live theater.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So that was my waitressism, and it made me. It's funny, like me and Cupid, we've been in sort of like a little bit of a funk, just because like living together and all that sort of stuff, and like not necessarily getting date night thing, like not getting too
Mm,
date nighty. So like we're just into the monotony of life, which isn't.
mm,
It's not bad for a relationship because that's 100 like 99% of your time is that, but so it was nice to just like walk around the city for an entire day and like do things and like be like a couple. and not necessarily have to be like,
Regular, everyday, boring life.
yeah, just because I feel like that, but that's just life. Like that's if you try to go upstream, like that's literally trying to paddle upstream to be like, no, it's got to be fun, and like no, like that's called life. I don't
I
know.
mean, there's nothing wrong with having some fun injected into the life,
Yes.
but as long as you're not confusing it as you're not living life because it's not
No.
all exciting all the time.
No. 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 No.
So, not you doing that, but just in general, people do that.
Oh yeah. No. 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 You know what it is? It's because I'm cheap.
Well, mm-hmm.
No, it's okay. Wait, it's because I'm cheap. Because if I have to choose between like a like an experience, like you're an experienced person, I know that about you.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to like as a kid, if I had to choose between like, do you want this experience or do you want this like item? I'd be like, no, I want the thing. As opposed to
Yeah.
some people are like, oh, I want the experience, right? Like you went to PlayStation experience, you loved it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if I were gonna like treat myself, I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna get a new phone. Or like I'm gonna get a home pod. Because I'm like, I'd spend so much time at home anyway, I might as well, instead of putting that money towards like a thing that's just 24 hours, like I'm gonna like have like the thing that I can just enjoy all the time.
Um,
That's like a different way of looking at it, which is why in general, just me as a person, I have a tendency of not doing experience based things. But much to my defense, I also came from a family that never went on vacations.
yeah, that
So
does make sense.
I think that hurt me because like I'm just like, oh well, why would somebody go on vacation? That's like a lot of money that you waste. Like that's my frame of thought is like that's like a waste of money. As
Oh
opposed to being
no.
like, no, like you can go to like Hawaii and like enjoy yourself and like, but I'm like, wait, how much money is that? Like I could take like a 1 month leave of absence and live off of that money.
Yeah.
But
My
that's
my experience was that my family, we were lucky or blessed enough to go on vacations. However, vacation doesn't mean anything if the people that you're going on the vacation with suck.
yeah.
So I've had vacation experiences where through those moments I was like, when I am older now, like older or old
hmm
enough, I will take my own vacation and no one will tell me how to experience a
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
So I'm more excited about going places by myself because
Yeah.
I didn't have to worry about my mom like lagging, like just wanting to be at the hotel the whole time, or my dad like just running out for no
Yeah.
reason and not knowing the language and
yeah.
having to babysit my brother from
Yeah.
just nonsense. So I understand.
Yeah. Um well I and it's funny too because I think the reason why because like I remember when I was 6 we had like a change jar and we were saving up for like vacation to go to like Disney or something. It was some shtick. Um and then like my mom like the 10-minute drive to like go to church, me and my brother would fight like crazy on the 10-minute drive. So my mom was like, we can't take them anywhere. Like that's so then it was in like we started that change jar in like 95 and then in like
Mm.
98 we had like X amount of dollars and my mom and dad were like, would you rather have a computer or go to Disney?
Mm,
And we were like, computer,
yeah, yeah.
because that's that's the decision that had to be made, like, which is funny because like thank god we said computer because like there's no way it would have happened, you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
but I think that in general I think that that's actually like rewired my brain into thinking of that as a waste, which is really kind of
Mm,
sad. um because I know people that have gone on like cruises and um and I don't know. I kind of feel stunted that way. I gotta experience more of that sort of thing. I'm kind of closed off. Rodney says, I do both, laugh out loud, buy things and experiences. Well,
Me too. Mhm.
one day I'm going to be a baller and do both. But as of right now, I think I'm going to try to put forth a little bit more effort into wanting to do more experiences.
You better be a budget baller like me. You ain't gotta be a baller to go on vacation or buy things. You just gotta save up your money.
No, I know. I know how to save up.
Yes, you do.
I was like, I know how to save up my money, but also it's freaking. I don't make. I'm. It's so depressing when I think about how much I work compared to how much I get paid. I was doing my taxes. Oh, did I talk about my taxes on here yet? Did I talk about my taxes on here yet?
I don't think you did.
Okay, so this will be my last thing, and we gotta close off soon. This will be my closing thing. Okay, I started doing my taxes. Why? Because I'm working at Starbucks and I'm working at Coral Harbor, and I was like, all right, like the old folks home. When I signed up for the old folks home. Typically, I like claim myself. I put the 1 for the W-2, which means that you get more money and they take less money out. So it means that you don't get a big like a check because they didn't take as much out, so they don't need to refund it to you. So for nursing home, the first job I ever did it, I was like, nope, I'm not going to claim myself. 0. I'm not going to claim myself. That way I'll be putting a lot more money in, and that way at the end of the year, I'll get more money back. Well, apparently, I don't know if Starbucks messed up with it or something. They weren't taking that much out. So I actually got back less money than when I claimed myself. Okay. I got less money than when I claimed myself. I don't know if I hit a different tax bracket. I don't know. I don't think so. Why? Because I'm not making that much money to begin with. So, and I didn't hit a different tax bracket. So I'm making less money than I did the previous year. Okay. Secondly, the HR lady, the lady in charge of finances, I said to her, I was like, oh, in like September, I was like trying to get the ball on like getting insurance since I was like eligible finally. And she was like, yeah, we'll get it to you. And in October, I was like, I need my insurance thing. And she's like, oh yeah, I'll get it to you. And then she sent me an email, and at the email it said, you need to sign up during open enrollment, which was in January. So because I waited in January, like she said, even though I was eligible in October, I had 3 months that I didn't have insurance. For those 3 months that I didn't have insurance, I have to pay $174 in penalties that come out of my rebate, which is BS because she didn't do her job. I have to pay $174. And secondly, I did not sign the waiver saying that I did not want medical insurance, which goes to show you that she didn't do her job and they should reimburse me $174. So yes, so like my tax return is like $325, not including me having to pay for TurboTax, which is 80 something dollars.
Yep.
So like that's like $200. I can't even take myself out to like a nice lunch.
No, you can just save that money at this point.
I know. I was going to like, and it's funny too because like I expected that I was going to get like big money.
Thousands.
Yeah, because like last time, because I always claimed myself, like it'd be like around like 600 or like it'd be like 600 or 900 since I claimed myself, so I was getting more money back. And like last year, I think it was like 900, but like this year, it's like after all this stuff, I'm like $325. Like I didn't even submit it. That's how upset I was. I was like, no, I'm just gonna ignore it.
You were literally at the same point of life because I also have not fully submitted my TurboTax, but I was like, this is some bull. Like,
and the fact that like nobody's eligible for the free one, like they advertised it and then they're like, wait a minute, there's this small catch, so you can't do it.
Yeah.
Did they get you with that catch too? Like you can't do it.
Well, I only have one W-2 this time.
Okay.
Last year I had two, so I had to pay. But this time I don't. But my problem is that
Oh, the New
I
York, New Jersey thing, right?
I'm a non-resident, and for this garbage, it's like I also had 3 months of when I didn't have insurance, so that's a problem. Then there's like New York tax, that's a problem. And then apparently I owe the government, and I'm like, how do I owe you? Like
You got double taxed. That's why, because you got taxed
it's
in New York. You got taxed for New York and in New Jersey. You got double taxed.
I'm so annoyed because I was like, did I do this right? And I was like, I owe them a good little chunk of change, and I'm like, God damn it! Like because I thought too that I was gonna get back like $3,000 or something
Yeah.
because I worked this one job. I have the W-2, like I fully committed, and this makes me question
I'm
like,
like, you didn't claim yourself. Like,
no, I put one, but that
oh,
was
you
from
put
like
one?
yeah, I claimed
I
myself.
put I put zero.
No, I claimed myself.
Okay, so next year, see if you can adjust it, put zero. You probably won't, like, you'll be taking home less money, but at the end of the year, you probably won't have to pay.
Really? Like actual
Yeah.
pay tax?
Yeah, no, put zero. Like, ask if you can talk to your like workers and be like, is there any way that I can change my dependency?
Oh, I'm sure I can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then if you do that, um, um, they'll take more out per paycheck. But
Mhm.
because they're taking more out, that'll help you out. That way, that won't happen to you again. Well,
Okay,
depending
okay.
on how much money
Woo.
it is. Yeah, because that way they'll be taking more out for you because you're not claiming yourself as a dependent.
Oh my God, because I was like I'll save up to the money to pay it, but still I was like, well, I like the money I'm getting now. Like I do like how much money I get to take home
Yeah,
at the end of it. But for me to do this, I was like,
yeah.
oh, like really? I gotta pay this? But yeah, I'm pissed off too. But
Hmm.
I'll save the money to pay it off. Yeah, it's garbage.
All right. So that has been Nightcap. I feel like gone on an emotional roller coaster. Um,
Wait, I was gonna say, like, I really didn't want to end this on taxes, but I was gonna bring up the one game I've been struggling to get through, the popular game that came out last month, and I'm just gonna drop the bombshell. Kingdom Hearts 3 is so boring. I said it.
and
I'm
you've
not
been
even
waiting for so long, and you're like, it's not worth it.
at this point. I didn't stick with the Kingdom Hearts franchise with like how other people did, but Kingdom Hearts 3, I've only played a couple of worlds. I'm currently in Monsters Inc. world, and
Mm.
it takes me my whole life to stay awake for it. It's literally so boring of a game. Um, so
Where
yeah.
do you think the writing is the execute, or do you think the problem is with the execution or the writing?
No, I think the writing is very detailed, and if I if I was a huge fan of it, it wouldn't feel and sound convoluted to me.
Hmm.
But a lot of it is depth worthy, and a lot of it is like if you didn't play the other games, you're not really gonna know what they're talking about.
Hmm.
But they take the time to spoon feed you to tell you the story because they know that people have not played this in 12 years. So in one sense, I'm trying to understand years of content that's
Hmm.
been streamlined through a straw so that I can understand what in the entire bumble F is happening in the game. But overall, like it's the same hack slash kill a bunch of stuff, and there's just tons of cutscenes.
Do you think they would have been better off if, because I'm gonna um I'm gonna link this to like Metal Gear Solid 4.
Oh gosh,
And
ooh,
the reason why I'm linking it to Metal Gear Solid 4 is so tons of cutscenes.
yeah.
Franchise is super old, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm saying super old. It's not. I remember it all. Um, but the thing that was really good about Metal Gear Solid 4 is, and part of the reason why I still haven't really played 5 yet,
Yeah.
because I think 4 is definitively the
The end.
last. Yeah, and it really is. Um, the thing about it is that so each of the enemies is almost like a reincarnated version of like each of the enemies out of like the first like 3 games out of the Metal
Yeah.
Gear Solid series, but they didn't like spoon feed it to you. Like either you knew it or you didn't. They would reference things in the past, but almost like a story. Like if you didn't really know about it, like it didn't matter. Do you think they would
Hmm.
have been better off instead of trying to go back in depth if they just like said things in passing? And if you got it, good. Like that's your Easter egg. But if not, like carry on. We got to build onto this new thing. Like, do you think that that's where they just did a disservice?
No, because another video I did watch, which I'm a fan of this person, they also did connect this game to Metal Gear Solid 4. But I don't think the issue was in terms of like reliving through the past, because
Mhm.
a lot of people played it because of the past. They were like,
Okay,
oh,
yeah,
but I just think there's really too much story to try and put on the shoulders of this one title.
yeah, yeah,
And I know they did put other Kingdom Hearts dip dream drop distance 365, like they did a bunch of stuff.
yeah,
But they are doing their best to tie everything together, which I am sort of appreciating. But like you said, Metal Gear Solid 4 was a great one because that game had me involved the whole time.
yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
even though the cutscenes were long,
Mhm.
it made me invested in Snake's life.
Mhm.
Or, I mean, again, please correct me because I haven't played the game in like umpteenth years, but it had me invested in the whole scene. And of course, to this day, I really don't know the full totality of Metal Gear Solid, but I enjoyed the crap out of that.
Yeah, no, it was a good game. They tied everything together. I played Metal Gear Solid 1 like I played that game like freaking like 6 or 7 times. Like the first game, like super
The
pixelated, like
demos, the
yeah, super pixelated, they were still polygon people, didn't look
yeah,
realistic at all. Um, Great story, the second one. We had Raiden, but for the most
it
part,
was still like playable, at least like
yeah,
passable, playish.
yep,
Kingdom Hearts 3, I just feel that they do have elements of the older games, and then they try to introduce new things,
hmm,
but a lot of them took out like the Final Fantasy characters. So there were Final Fantasy characters tied
yeah,
in with Kingdom Hearts, and
yeah,
they're not there. I'm sorry. Most of them are cut out. They they really don't. Oh, and then of course the worlds that they picked to be included in this were really not the world I would have picked for this.
what if you don't mind me asking, what world?
Well, the ones that I've played right now that I can share, but I know that are in there for sure. They have Tangled as the first world. They have Toy Story, and they have Monsters, like Monsters Inc. But I know that they have Frozen. That's the another one, and then there's Big Hero 6.
So just all these titles, I'm gonna say this, and don't hate me.
Yes, go ahead.
I think part of the reason why these titles are not grabbing you the way that the first 2 games, worlds probably grabbed you, is because of where you are in your life playing the game. You don't have the
Uh,
nostalgia of going back into sort of right, like wasn't like Nightmare Before Christmas one of the worlds, and
yeah, but like not all the Disney movies, Disney worlds, which I'm going to mention in a few seconds. Not all the worlds from all the games I enjoyed
Yeah.
fully anyway.
No. Oh,
Like
of course not.
they
But
weren't, not all of them were my favorite, but these particular ones, what's boring to me is
Mhm,
not so much that they brought a new issue. Like
mhm.
I'll go with Tangled. Tangled, when you get into the Tangled world, you're literally watching the movie Tangled. Like it's not so much something happened with Rapunzel that was different from the Disney movie. You're literally playing the Disney plot of the movie. So if
Yeah.
you didn't watch Tangled, it's okay because you're basically going to play Tangled,
Yeah.
which is not what I wanted. I wanted it to be like you arrive in Tangled's world and Rapunzel, her world gets, which it does, get overrun with bad people.
Hmm.
Okay, so who's the new bad guy? It's still like Rapunzel's stepmom. And you're like,
Yeah.
but isn't this the movie?
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm like, why am I playing the movie of Tangled? If we're supposed to have new characters and Donald and Goofy are supposed to help me, why am I playing Tangled
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
opposed to being introduced into the Tangled world
World, and
with
then have
something
a
else
separate issue.
happening?
Correct.
Yes, they did not do that. You just played Tangled. And I was like, I don't, what? Why? And then the second thing was I love Big Hero 6. I thought Tangled was hilarious. Monsters Inc. was great, but why didn't they put, and I really don't want to make this into a race issue, but why didn't they put Moana? Why did they put Coco? Why didn't they put like Up?
Oh, Coco would be good.
I know they did not put Coco
Coco
made us
actually,
cry.
and I'm not like a huge Disney person at all. But Coco
Coco,
aesthetically as far as, but then you also have to like wonder how much this goes into the numbers. How much was the box
yeah,
office for Coco? And also, was Coco Disney Pixar or just Pixar?
it's Disney Pixar.
Okay.
It's Disney Pixar. There's no way that couldn't have been Disney. But they had a lot of movies to choose from, and none of them are in there. That I again Moana, Coco, what was the other shit I just said? The other movie that came
Big
Up.
Six.
I mean, Big Hero 6 is in it, but I didn't get there yet, so I don't know. I can't talk about a world I've never been to. But there were Disney movies that they could have put in there, and I don't think they're in there. And these new characters that they're introducing to people, heck, if I know who these people are, it's basically like the bad guy made clones of himself, and those clones have a good side and a bad side. So within one person, you're learning about four other people, and
Mm-hmm.
all of these people look the effing same. They all have anime hair, they all have different colors, and they all have the same facial structure, and they all have hard ass names to learn. And if I hear the word Xehanort one more goddamn time, like I who's that? Like it just seems too much at once. And for someone who isn't really a huge hardcore fan, who
Mm-hmm.
did not get all the games, it was just a bit hard for me to get through it. And I'm gonna play it and I'm gonna finish it. By golly, I'm gonna finish this shit. But it is tough for me to stay interested because I just side railed and just started playing GTA for the first time, and I was very involved in that rather than play Kingdom Hearts 3, which is upsetting, but it is what it is.
You played Grand Theft Auto 5.
I avoided Grand Theft Auto 5 for the longest time because I did
That's
not want to
so
get
fun.
sucked into it. But I
Yeah.
was so bored. I was
Yeah.
like, let me just try GTA 5. And I was so involved and it was
It's
hilarious.
good. It's
Such a
good.
great game.
It's good.
So
And I
good.
love switching the characters. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So at
Yeah.
this moment, I'm trying to get back into the Kingdom Hearts 3 mindset so I can finish it. But wow, was it tough.
I had to delete GTA from my PlayStation.
You deleted it?
Yeah, I like because I like downloaded it. I bought it when Christmas. Everything was closed, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy GTA 5, so I did. And my character for online looked like
Mhm.
Pam from Archer. You know the big lady?
Oh,
She looked like
yes.
Pam.
Okay. I made a lady too, and I was like running around, and I really don't have any experience, but this lady character and this dude character came, and they basically like hung out with me for hours. Like they helped me get money, they helped me get clothes, and the girl character took me to a yacht, and she let me like ride spaceships. Like it was what a crazy game.
I know, I
So
know.
insane.
Oh my gosh, just imagine if that's like with VR. Like that's like Second Life.
Oh
Just
yeah,
like
and that is Second Life a game I should get into or no?
no,
Is that
no,
no? Don't get
no.
into that. Okay,
No,
cool.
that's like Habbo. No. It's because it's not a game, uh it's just
People
a
chilling.
social. Yeah. And I as somebody that was addicted to Habbo Hotel, I'm like, yeah, it's a slipper. It's
Um,
I don't think you would get addicted to it, but I
you would be
definitely
like, I
did.
need to be in this.
Oh yeah, no, that's like when I would come home after high school, like all middle school and high school. Like that's those were my friends. And it's
Mm,
and like it's weird. Like I have like memories. I'm like, oh yeah, remember hanging out in that room? Like that didn't happen to you. That was on a computer screen. Like
no,
that was
I
my
had the same thing.
hangout. Yeah, like it's like no, that didn't happen. Like I'd be like, oh, I gotta go on, and like I was on like it was like a job. I was on like hours a day, like 5 6 hours a day. It's part of the reason why I got a laptop when I reached a certain age. Like that's what I wanted. That way I could
Um,
like I wouldn't have to use the family computer.
yeah, no, I
Excuse
feel
me.
you. I had
Oh,
that world too, so yeah.
aw. All right. So just to leave off, Mr. Rodney says that he says I need an incredible and Wally world. Uh,
Yes, they did
same.
that build in there too.
And then I think when you were talking about going through the plot of it, he said the same with the Frozen world. He said I really did enjoy the
God damn
San
it.
Francisco world.
San Fran Tokyo or San Francisco Tokyo or whatever it's
Yes,
called.
yes, yes. He enjoyed that. He said that the game in general is weaker than the three main games, but he's enjoying it a bit, which is sad
Mm,
because when you've waited, 12, 15 years for a game, you don't want to feel like you're missing out on something. And
yeah.
then the only reason why I'm going to jump back uh, which I completely agree. And it is possible because I didn't feel sad at Metal Gear Solid 4. So it is
Mm,
possible to wait a long time for a follow up and to not be sad.
yeah.
Alrighty. I'm
Four
going
was
to
the
have,
bomb.
huh?
Four was the
It
bomb.
was, it really was. And it was like the perfect tie up. And I know the twist about five. So, like, I know the joy, I know the twist about five.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't even honestly I feel like I finished it but didn't finish it. Like finish. So
oh, yeah.
I'm not in a rush for that.
Well, you know what? And as far as I'm concerned, with games where it's like, oh, we have so many different side quests you could do, I'm like, no, I want the main quest.
Yeah, just tell me
Like, I'm
what the
done. I'm done.
tell
I
me
want
the
I
story.
want the main story. I'm
What are you
like,
going to tell me about?
can you adequately mark everything down that way I'm not doing BS things? I'm like, I want the main
AKA
story.
Spider-Man.
Want the main story. Goodbye. All right, so
Hmm.
I gotta put away all the waitress stuff
Oh yeah, put it
before
away.
I head to bed. So I'd like to thank you, Mr. Rodney, for checking out Nightcap. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I don't know. I'm doing my fake like radio voice.
Hey, hey, hey.
I don't know. It's terrible. And you guys got to start. You guys have to start getting ready for your wonderful um, podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah, Joy's gonna
yes.
have her Heroes podcast.
So excited.
Yes, the Heroes Fan Fanatic podcast. So thank you, Mr. Rodney, for joining us. Thank you, Miss Joy. Is there something you wanted to close off with?
Um, hopefully you get to rewatch Become Human. Being
Being
Human.
human, yeah.
Jesus.
It's
Being
it,
Human. Watch that again.
it's so good. I love it.
And I'm just like, for y'all who have noticed, I am not on YouTube. I'm just straight up taking a hiatus. I hope to return in March because
Okay.
I'm just on a hiatus on YouTube Nickens. Like that's what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
Oh, it's funny. I didn't even notice that. Like I said, like
Yeah.
Joy, real Nickens. Like I didn't. Oh, I didn't even
Yeah.
feel it.
I just haven't uploaded anything. I just was like, I'm tired. I just want to do not that right now. So yeah.
Yay! I feel honored that you're still doing Nightcap with me.
Oh, of course. This
Yeah.
is fun. I look forward to these. So
Yeah. So do I.
oh,
Maybe.
no, well, I'm not even tired. So
I'm like, I'm like, get off me. I got Nightcap.
I wish I had it like that.
All right. How about play that outro music? That way I can go to bed.
Yes, go ahead.
I got a double tomorrow and it's supposed to snow.
Yeah, please be careful.
Oh, Mr. Rodney says Oklahoma. Oklahoma. Right? Have a happy midnight to you.
Yes, please. Have
And then
fun.
he
Get a good
just
night's
said,
sleep.
"Oh yeah, asumi asai,
Oh,
Oklahoma."
oh my God. Yasumi Nasai, Oklahoma. Peace out.
Oh, we love you.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Oh wait, stop playing music. Okay.